Hey guys, LevelCap here. Today is Monday, which means it's time for an episode of Loadout, the series where you guys, the viewers, get to pick a custom gun setup for me to use. The way you do this is you leave a comment down below letting me know what kind of weapon and accessories you'd like me to run with, and I will pick one of the top rated comments for the next episode of Loadout. Today's top comment comes from 343 Rawl. He says, German style, G36C, red dot sight, heavy barrel, G17, and medkit. Unfortunately, you can't use medkit with the engineer class, but I'll just replace that with a SMA. Now, what's funny about calling this loadout a German loadout is that in Battlefield 3, there are a huge number of weapons that are actually German designed. The G36C is just one of them. M416, G3, there's many more guns out there that are actually German weapons. The pistol, however, is an Austrian pistol, and I think it's just because there aren't any German-made pistols in this game, so that's as close as we could get. Now, what's great about the G36C is that this is a very easy to use gun. If you are not very good at controlling recoil, then the G36C is probably going to agree with you. It has very low kickback, so you have to do very little in the realm of recoil compensation. Also, the side-to-side recoil is 0.3 pull left, 0.3 pull right, meaning that it's not going to pull in any particular direction more than the other, so you're not going to have to recoil compensate left to right either, making this just very, very easy to get into. If you're a new player, new to first-person shooters, the G36C is not only powerful, but just easy to aim. Now, another thing that makes this weapon so easy to use is its rate of fire. It fires at 750 rounds per minute. Not the fastest on the board, but definitely not the slowest either. Now, why would 750 rounds per minute be easier to use as opposed to 900 rounds per minute or 500 rounds per minute? Well, 750 is fast enough to pack a punch to drop somebody very fast. It's not going to drop somebody faster than say 900 rounds per minute, but it's very respectable. As you can see from all these clips here, I have no problem dropping people really, really quickly. The other great thing about 750 rounds per minute is that it doesn't fire so fast that you end up burning through all your ammo before you really end up landing too many shots on your opponent. I see a lot of people using the extremely fast firing weapons like the MTAR that fires at 900 rounds per minute. They'll miss most of their shots before they can get their crosshair on target, and all of a sudden they're out of ammo and there's still an enemy alive in front of them. The 750 rounds gives you enough time to compensate your aim and make sure that you're shooting on target so that you don't waste too much of your ammo hitting things that are not your opponent. Now, for the most part, all carbines have the same damage models except for the ACWR and the SCAR H. They do 25 maximum damage, 14.3 minimum damage. So carbines do a little bit less damage than assault rifles at range, but it's still pretty respectable and they're still very capable at dropping people at range. Not quite as good as assault rifles, but if you know how to tap fire this gun correctly, you can drop people at longer range. It took me a little while to try and figure out how to fire the G36C effectively at range, because I was doing usually 3 to 4 round bursts. I found that the 2 round burst was much more accurate, as I just wasn't hitting any of my targets with the 2 shots after 2 rounds. So if you do 2-shot bursts at opponents, you can land a lot more shots at longer ranges. It will, however, take you longer to kill. There are some weapons that are very effective with 3 to 4 round bursts at range, and you will just land more shots in a quicker period of time than you will with the 2-round burst. Now, part of the problem with this weapon for ranged accuracy is that it has a pretty high side-to-side recoil. 0.3 pull left and 0.3 pull right is in the medium to high range of side-to-side recoil. Side-to-side recoil is the worst possible thing that you could have for getting ranged shots. It's not necessarily hard to compensate for, but at the same time, it's just going to reduce your accuracy a lot at ranges. So the G36C is very good at medium ranges, but longer ranges, it's less effective. In fact, there's been times that I've slapped a foregrip on here to try and compensate for some of that side-to-side recoil, seeing if it would help me at longer ranges. And I think having a foregrip on here does make this gun a little bit more effective at long ranges. So I would say ultimately you might want to try running with that instead. The heavy barrel is a must for this gun, and in fact the heavy barrel is pretty much a must for any carbine. Carbines are particularly affected by heavy barrels more than any other gun out there because they increase the bullet velocity of the weapon. Standard, the G36C has a 500 meter per second bullet velocity. Respectable, but if you put a heavy barrel on here, not only are you getting increased aimed accuracy, but the bullet velocity goes all the way up to 600 meters per second, which now makes it much more effective for hitting moving targets without needing to lead. The red dot sight is an excellent choice for this gun. You're not going to want any more magnification on this weapon just because you simply don't have the accuracy to take advantage of a higher zoom scope. Get used to these zero magnification scopes and you will be just fine. I mean, just aim for center mass. You don't even need to worry about headshots too much unless you're in close quarters and you feel comfortable with really going for the head if your accuracy is at that level. There's nothing special about the Hipfire with this gun. It's not extremely low, it's not extremely high. It's effective in extreme close quarters, but other than that, you're going to want to be aiming down sight to take out your opponent. Now, as for the G36C, it is a good pistol. It's got a nice little laser sight on it, which can improve your hipfire accuracy. So what's great about that gun is that you really don't need to aim down sight at all for it. It is a semi-automatic and it doesn't do the greatest damage in the world. It does 25 maximum and I like it. The only problem with it is that every time I compare it to something like the G18 or the 93R, one of those machine pistols, it pretty much loses hands down. Every time I want a pistol, it's usually because I'm out of ammo and there's somebody in close quarters that I need to deal with. Long range, the G17C is going to beat any machine pistol out there. However, I rarely use pistols in long range. I can usually manage to pick up another kit if I'm completely out of ammo with my primary and use one of the primary weapons for the greater ranges. So the G17C is fun. However, when you get suppressed with a semi-automatic pistol, it's pretty much game over. I've been in close quarter combat before where I've just been suppressed, shooting like crazy at the blurry guy right in front of me and not landing any shots. It's quite frustrating, and especially when you know you could have taken out somebody with a machine pistol in the exact same situation. Now, I have reviewed the G36C before, and the gun hasn't really changed too much since I've reviewed it. And to summarize what my overall thoughts of this weapon are, is that it actually does serve a really good role in this game in that it's a great gateway gun for people who want to be good with carbines. It doesn't require a lot of skill to control the recoil, and it's got still an impressive damage output. However, once you get better at controlling recoil, perhaps just get better at the game in general, you might want to think about upgrading to a better weapon. If you compare it to the M4A1, that gun reloads faster, it does the same amount of damage, has less recoil in many aspects, can just be more accurate at range, and there's quite a few other assault rifles that can really just outplay the G36C. You just need a little bit more recoil compensation to make them more worthwhile. However, again, if you're not good at that recoil compensation, then the G36C still is a very good carbine. The other carbines that beat this one out only beat it out slightly, so it's not like you're going to be completely outmatched by somebody who can control recoil, only slightly. So that pretty much wraps it up for this episode of Loadout. Remember to leave your comments down below, letting me know what kind of gun and accessories you'd like me to run with, and remember to upvote comments that you enjoy. On a side note, I have been doing Twitch lately, streaming a lot of my gameplay. If you want to see uncut games and stuff like that, a lot of Battlefield, a lot of PlanetSide on there, you can go check out my Twitch account. It's twitch.tv/LevelCap, and I'm sure I'm going to have some regularly scheduled streams on there soon. I'm still trying to figure out my schedules and get some show concepts together for you guys, but I'll be doing regular streams over there. Thanks again for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to rate the video if you did, and I'll see you next time. This is LevelCap, signing off.